take a turn for the worse. So I understand that moving forward. Like I said, I mentioned the window replacement, the painting of City Hall, and the storage shed. So if you have any questions, we will see if we can provide the answers for you.
So for the commission up here, because we have Commissioner Vila Vasquez online and she doesn't have a way to push a button, we will go to her first every time. If she has nothing to say, then she just says no. So Commissioner Vila Vasquez, do you have any questions?
Not yet.
Okay.
Thank you.
Vice Mayor Jody Lee, and then Commissioner McCool.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Mark, for his overview. I'm good with just about everything on there. I like that you talked about the windows. I'd like to make sure to see if we can save them for a little bit of time. Would that cost, with all the stuff we're trying to cut or take care of? I would hope that maybe you or city manager can get with somebody to go through the building and re-caulk all the windows, and it probably hasn't been done probably since they were put in, maybe. I don't know.
We have done some of that mitigation on the damaged areas, but yes, we are working on that as well as part of our storm prep.
Yeah, I'd like to get that done, a preventive maintenance on it, and even recaulk the ones that weren't leaking. But I understand they were leaking during them last hurricane, but after 21 inches of rain, just about every house in Florida had water coming in somewhere. So, I mean, it's a fluke. But everything else, I appreciate it. Thank you.
Commissioner McCool, then Commissioner Shimkus.
Thank you very much. I want it noted to the coming out this year, just want to make sure the law enforcement screening coming out right, because we have decided to take away the metal detector. Is that correct?
Yes.
On the permanent. So I would like to understand what that footprint looks like when we're done. Okay, just putting that out there. This is also the first year that we will be transferring back in the Amazon tax rebate. Is that correct?
That would be a finance question. I don't know the answer to. They can provide that answer.
Julie?
Not the full amount.
She said not the full amount.
450, correct? 450,000. Okay. And then I just would like to know about the $1 million transferred out for the Muni and for the capital improvement replacement. Are those?
Where's the microphone? Where's the?
Yeah, on 61 in the line item book. We have 535,000 transferring out to stormwater, out to Muni, and then capital replacement.
Yes, those are just the accounting functions. We have our 501 fund is our capital equipment purchasing. That's where we purchase it from. It's still general fund, but it's just a matter of transferring it.
It's not actually reallocated, though, correct?
Correct.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Commissioner Shimkus, you were on just a second.
Yeah, sorry. I was just going to ask about the storage unit that we're looking at. Like, is that really the best option in a parking lot? Is that just a temporary thing that we're going to look at doing some kind of a building at some point, or what kind of a?
It's a permanent structure. It will be on the property. It's a 20 by 20 storage shed, which will allow us to accommodate our janitorial supplies along with some other equipment that's here at City Hall. Yes. And free up space for other departments to actually put their boxes in their proper department.
So
yes.
You said it's a permanent structure, so not just a shed?
It's a 20 by 20 shed, yes. It's a shed.
Okay, so I'm sorry. You say shed to me, I'm thinking a metal building that's going to go away in 5 years. Then you said permanent structure.
When I say permanent, I mean a shed, just like we have sheds throughout the city and you have in your backyard, but it's a 20 by 21.
Okay, so you're not a permanent concrete building, just what's it going to be made of, I guess is the question.
Metal.
Okay.
Commissioner Shimkus. So I have a question. Page 59 on our budget books for the line item stuff, the total proposed is $647,000, correct? This might be a city manager question that I'm going to ask, but these are all different type of repairs, painting, window replacements, fire sprinkler system, backflows. We're investing a lot of money in this building.
Yes. We have invested a lot of money in this building. We've replaced the carpet here in the chambers. We replaced the flooring. We put a metal roof on the building back in 2018. Yes.
All right, I'm going to go kind of out of the box here. Can I just ask that we look into, Doc, and just to satisfy my curiosity, we don't own the land on this building, right? We just
do
own the
not.
building,
We
correct?
do not own the land.
Can we not look into how much it would actually cost instead of investing more than $500,000 in repairs? How much it would cost? Get an estimate, I don't know, to sell this building, or what it would be to get a brand-new city hall. I mean, to me, it makes more sense than continuing over and over, spending money. There's always an issue with the elevator. We never have enough space. I mean, that's just a thought. And see Vice Mayor Jody Lee's on the board.
Thank you, Mayor. There's parts of me that totally agree with you. The only difference is we can't sell the building because it's owned by the college. We have
the
100
building's owned by us.
Well, no, it's theirs. And we pay $1 a year for a lease for this building. So we're not, and even if we build a city hall, when it needs maintenance, you know who's paying for it?
But
We
it's a little different than continuing. We're putting a bandage.
Like I said, I'm agreeing with
Over a
you.
wound.
If we fix all our issues for our residents, then I am
Sure.
2,000,000% behind you to build a new city hall. But let's fix all the issues we have with our roads, our storms, our
100%.
issues.
We're not even.
Then I'm
we're not
totally
even.
with you.
We're not even talking
I will
about that.
fight with you on it.
The issue we're having is we're still looking at over $500,000 to fix a building at this point that isn't ours.
Right.
That at any time, and I'm not saying this is going to happen. Let's just say. Anyways, it's a thought that I'm throwing out there.
I'll go with you.
Whenever Daytona State College feels like it's time for us to go, what are we going to do? We don't own this building, right? We don't own the land. We don't own anything. And I hate to continue to invest money in something that does not belong to us. That's all I'm going to say. All right, we'll go ahead and move forward.
I would like to make a comment.
Go ahead, Commissioner Villa-Vasquez.
So we have a contract on the land lease, so it's not like Deltona State College is going to throw us out. I believe the contract is for 100 years. It's close to that. And what makes you think that building another city hall is not going to cost us as much as we're spending now? I mean, nothing is cheap nowadays. Maintenance costs a lot of money. The building is beautiful, I just don't see where we can build another city hall at a reasonable price these days. So I'm just putting my 2 cents in there.
Thank you, Commissioner Colwell. And then just for the record, I want to note that Commissioner Harriet is here. So go ahead, Commissioner Colwell.
Back to the painting of the building, would that include the caulking of all the
Could you
window
turn on
doors?
your microphone, please?
It's on.
Oh, I couldn't hear you. I apologize.
Would that include all the caulking of the windows, doors, and the exterior of the building?
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
And it will be competitively bid.
Yeah.
Okay, we're going to go ahead and move on if there's no other questions.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Next one is Department 720, Parks and Recreation. Do a brief slide presentation for that one as well. Start with the mission statement. As you know, we are tasked with providing maintenance of our parks and facilities throughout the city. That includes the buildings, that includes the fields, the sports fields. We also provide programming. We are limited in the amount of programs we can offer right now because we are constrained by the amount of space we have, specifically at West Crowell Park. We provide youth and adult sports, basketball, football, BD baseball, but based on our current contractual agreements with multiple organizations, we are limited in the amount of time we can use the facility. We also do special events, and I want to bring this to your attention. Doc and I have had a couple of conversations about this already. He's got many ideas on some special events that he's done at various places. 2 of them we specifically talked about that we'll be adding to the budget. It's very fluid on special events right now. 2 of them are the St. Patty's Day Fest on March 17th, which is St. Patty's Day. And we're also looking at doing a Deltona Santa ride, I think it was 5 days before Christmas, throughout the city, where we'll go down the main roads with the fire truck and a police escort with Santa, so everybody in the city will get an opportunity to see Santa before Christmas, or the holidays, I should say. So I just want to make you guys aware of that. But like I said, we also are responsible for various contractual obligations, Boys and Girls Club, youth sports, and that requires, they take most of the space of our facilities, so we are limited in our ability to offer programming at this time, but we are looking to expand. We're hoping to bring back an adult kickball league in the fall at DuPont Lakes. And we're also going to try and start an adult volleyball league. We had that at one time. We're planning on doing that as well. But again, our space is limited at West Crowell Park. The mission statement, don't need to go over that. You guys can read that at your leisure. Hold on, had a computer malfunction. Let me go to my form. All right, 24 accomplishments. As most of you know, if you've been on the dais for a while, one of our big tasks is replacing our outdated playgrounds with inclusive and accessible playgrounds. We are continuing to do that through our inventory. West Crowell Park will be done by the end of September. Tom Hoffman Park will be done by the end of September. We've also done it at Dewey Boster, as the mayor, vice mayor and I had a spirited conversation about that as well, regarding playgrounds. We also are replacing our wooden pavilions with steel frame, metal roof pavilions. This past year, we've done it at Dwight Hawkins Firefighters in Timber Ridge. The restroom at Timber Ridge is the last one that is going to be replaced with an ADA accessible restroom. That is scheduled to come online in September, hopefully. At Van Park this past winter, we laser graded and resodded all 4 fields at Van Park. We are seeking reimbursement from FEMA for that as well, up to 90%. And I don't know, most of you have been to opening days either at Van Park or at West Volusia Baseball. The biggest complaint you guys have probably gotten, I know I got, is why can't the fields at our baseball fields look like Dewey Boster, the soccer complex? We've solved that problem at Van Park. You'll see in the operating budget coming up for next fiscal year, we want to address that problem at Dewey Baseball as well. We also are updating our fencing throughout the city. We're getting away from the wooden perimeter fencing to aluminum picket. We've done that as well at Timber Ridge and Festival Park. And we also made repairs to the soccer fields at Dewey as well over the winter to address some legal liability issues with what do you want to say, some potential hazards, trip hazards. Some of the things we're looking to do for in 24-25 fiscal year, just like I mentioned, at Dewey Boster, the baseball fields, resod and laser grade all 4 of those fields. So those kids play on the same quality fields that we have at the soccer complex and at Van Park. The restroom concession and the playground concession at Dewey are 22 years old. As all of you know, those are our special event facility where we have major special events out there. Those have gotten wear and tear. We've tried to rehab them as much as possible, but those are due for replacement. They have exceeded their lifespan. We also looking to replace the pavilion and fencing at Tom Hoffman Park and the fencing at Van Park. And by the way, in transparency as well, Doc and I have had conversations about a grand vision on how we're going to upgrade and modernize the rest of the facilities. We'll be talking to you guys individually about that moving forward as we start the budget process in July, August, and September. Okay, the organizational chart for 24-25. As you see, we have many openings, and as most of you know, the labor market has been quite a challenge. Have been working with Flores and her team in HR to try to fill those positions. The issue we're having, it's a competitive pay issue, to be honest with you. We are being outbid by the private sector just about for every applicant that we have. I know that's not unique to Parks and Rec. I believe that's also prevalent in other departments as well, but we are trying to address that issue. Also, one of the items you see here that's open is a special event coordinator. Doc and I have also talked about that because Doc has his own special event folder that he wants to bring to the city in addition to Parks and Rec, so we'll be talking about that as well with you guys as we move forward. The budget overview. As you can see on personnel, relatively flat. Operating expenses, there is a significant increase, and that involves the laser grading and resodding of the ball fields at Dewey Baseball and the resurfacing of the splash pad, which is due. We try to do that every 4 to 5 years, and this will be year 6 for that. So that is definitely a need that needs to be done. And those are considered one-time operating expenses. The capital request, which I mentioned briefly earlier, replace the fencing at Van Park, the fencing and pavilion at Tom Hoffman, replace the concession and playground restrooms at Dewey, and we added replacement vehicles, brought that before you guys back in March. That was put on hold. We want to put that in there. Again, Doc and I has had multiple conversations about that along with other departments about the need for replacement vehicles. That will be coming before you guys in the very near future, but we want to put it in there as a placeholder so we don't have to do a budget amendment moving forward. So with that being said, I'll answer any questions.
Commissioner Harriet, Vice Mayor Jody Lee, and then Commissioner McCool. Before we go to Commissioner Harriet, Commissioner Villa-Vasquez, do you have any questions?
No, thank you.
All right, Commissioner Harriet, go ahead.
All right, I'm going to kind of go backwards. From the presentation since you mentioned vehicles at the end. Are we looking at doing a budget amendment to purchase vehicles current year, or are these going to stay in the budget? If they're a placeholder, I don't understand the plan.
So there is money in the budget this year for replacement vehicles, but that was put on hold back in March when we brought it before the commission. We are putting this in there for next fiscal year in case we are not able to purchase them this fiscal year.
Okay.
Does that make sense? So it's a placeholder for next fiscal year. That doesn't mean if we get them before the end of this fiscal year, we don't have to spend that money next fiscal year.
I don't want to dive too deep into operations, but why do we need 3 F-250s for parks?
Because that's the vehicles we use for our maintenance guys.
Could we get away with just an F-150? Could they do the job with just an F-150?
I don't think you can have the tool accessories on an F-150 that you do on a 250, so I don't know if that would work. I don't think they can modify that.
Let's look into that, because you'd be surprised at the different accessories we can put on F-150s.
Okay.
And then I'd like to be provided with a list of the contractual obligations for each of the parks that we have.
The facility use agreement you're referring to?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Whoever has, whoever we have agreements with, Boys Town, youth soccer, any of those agreements where they take up space, take up time, that we have to honor that first. I'd like to know about.
Okay. You want it on a spreadsheet?
Please.
Okay.
And then last thing, kind of vanity, but when we're talking about replacing all these fences, I just want to make sure that this is fencing that's going to look attractive and have a long life and not, and I want it to support the economic development of our community, and we're holding residents to a fairly high standard, so I want to make sure that we hold ourselves to a higher standard.
Yes, sir.
You, Commissioner?
Yeah, that's it.
You sure? Did you? I see you scrolling through there. Well, I'll come back to you if you decided. Vice Mayor Jody Lee and Commissioner McCool.
Mark, we did some of the parks over not too long ago at the sod, right?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
You said I remember us talking about it. We did one of the parks over with sod and stuff before.
Van Park, the baseball fields and
Right, and
softball
we're
field were
waiting for,
resodded.
you said
Yes.
we're waiting for FEMA?
Yes.
Why didn't we do this park at the same time and submit it to FEMA and try to do it?
It wasn't eligible for FEMA reimbursement because there was no flooding at Dewey Baseball. There was no flooding there.
But it's not like they came up. I'm just kind of curious. I mean, we had 21 inches of rain. I'm sure they could have found flooding somewhere. That's my big issue. I know we've held you off on the vehicles and trucks, so I'm not even going to, I do agree with Commissioner Harrod about the F-150s and see if they handle, but I know your utility beds and your pulling little trailers with Bobcat and stuff, with different equipment, so I get it. So, and I know how much trouble I gave you over vehicles before, so I'm not, been there, done it. Well, to a point. Until I have to school you on equipment.
Commissioner McCool?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Hey, Mark, what was I just want to know the cause of the R&M increase this, you know what I mean, in 2025? Just, it's 208%, you know what I mean?
You're talking about the repair and maintenance? That is
Yeah.
for the baseball field renovation at Dewey Baseball.
Okay.
And that is also for the splash pad resurfacing at West Crowell Park.
That's all I need to know. I know that you had mentioned it, but I just wanted to, because
Other than that, it's relatively flat, because as we fix things during the first year, we take them off for the next year, yes.
Okay, does anyone know anywhere, do we have, I don't see it here, but I could be missing it. Do we have the listing in our budget books of all the special funds? Tree fund, that kind of thing? Do we have those listed? Julia, where's that?
In the presentations or in the budget?
Budget book itself. Thank you. Yeah. Okay, because I think that there's over $1 million, like just in our tree fund, that I would like us to start using, you know, at some juncture in the park. Go ahead, Julia. Oh, okay, I'm sorry, sweetheart, I thought you were done. Okay, that's all I wanted to know. Thank you.
Commissioner Harriet?
Thanks, Mayor. I'd also like to see do we have a list of all the other maintenance that is next, coming up on the next few years? Do we
Yes,
have that?
I can
Do we have
provide that to
out?
you all, yes.
And is there any maintenance that's been deferred over the past couple of years that is needed in addition to what we're doing?
Yes, I will provide that to all
I'd
of you.
like to see the list of all of the deferred maintenance for all of the city properties.
I can't speak to all the city properties, I can only do parks, so, okay.
I'll ask every other director for the same thing then.
Okay.
Good. Commissioner Harriet, did you bring this up the other day, I believe yesterday, about the workers' comp situation? No, I don't believe so. So, Doc, is there any reason, because I was going through the budget book yesterday and again today, and I've noticed that workers' comp in some departments has jumped significantly. Is there a specific reason? I mean, one of the departments I think had like 30% or something crazy like that, but like Parks and Recs, it's up 12.1%. There's another department, it's up 400%. I mean, can we look into it, why that's jumping up so high? I mean, I'm not trying to go across all the departments at once, but it's just a consistent topic with almost every single department.
So I think part of the parks one for this year was because of the accident that one of our employees had at Van Park during the resod of those fields, where he suffered second and third degree burns. I think that might be attributed to why that jump came to 12%. Huh?
One person, I'm agree with Mayor,
I think
one person across the city.
Julia's got something over there across the
Yeah. This is just an estimate at this time. I can get you more detailed information. We use a per FTE per department, and it depends on the work they do. And I know we should be getting the insurance quote back in soon, so we should have more exact numbers.
Did we do, what is it called, an RFP like everyone else when we go bid for that, or were you just using one carrier for that?
I believe it was out to RFP last year, was it not, Julie?
Actually, that is done through HR.
Okay.
If Flores wants to speak to that.
Okay, thank you, Flores. Did you want to say something?
Yeah, this is, speaking about this, thank you, Mayor. Speaking about the insurance part, it went out for bid. This is after we were told before that we were going to get a $500,000 increase from our insurance. Am I right? The worst part is I don't think you guys were here then. You definitely weren't here. Glenn, when this came out, is this after when Rebecca said that there was going to be a $500,000 increase and we found out about it after the fact?
I think it's a different insurance.
Oh, similar to insurance goes. But that's what we're talking about, the insurance for that RFP, right? Okay, thank you.
So the last question I had is, I see that we have a 74% decrease, close to 75% decrease in promotional activities. Activities is the one thing our residents look forward to. Is that going to affect us in a negative way? I mean, I'm just hoping maybe it was just redistributed a different way and we're getting into a more detailed situation versus we're cutting back on activities.
It's a combination of both. So the big decrease in that was last year the budget for promotional activities included $100,000 for a Veterans Day parade and a Memorial Day parade. And as you guys were in attendance at both of those events, we decided not to do that this year. It's much better to do the cookout with the veterans at Veterans Park. So that's decreased that tremendously because there was $100,000 budgeted for that last year. So we've dropped that down to between that and the Juneteenth celebration. Plus, with Doc, we are also going to be adding some events that he wants to bring on as well. But right now, that's the biggest reason for that decrease.
So we've cut some, but we've added some lower cost events,
Yes,
correct?
correct.
All right, I just want to make sure we're not
Yes.
disservicing our residents by 74% is a big cut. I mean, I'm happy, don't get me wrong. I just going for $400,000 and $500,000 to 101. It's a big cut. So, but if you're saying it's good, it's good. Commissioner Harriet?
I think that just with some of my conversations with Doc, I think there's going to be opportunity to address that once a more detailed plan.
Can't hear you.
Yeah, I just didn't want there to be another budget amendment coming before us.
We all have to remember that this isn't actually the budget that we're adopting. So this is just, and goes for residents as well. This is a presentation of what the department requests are. This is the first time that we are seeing this. And so based off of our comments, staff will go back, make adjustment, or the city manager will go back, make adjustments, and then we'll look at a final.
Commissioner Villa-Vasquez, you wanted to speak?
No, I just couldn't hear Davison.
Okay. All right, is there any other questions on the dais? No? All right, thank you, Mr.
All right, thank you, guys. Chris Hallett will be coming up to do the center next.
Second to last one, right below yours. Thank you. Good evening. Okay. Ours should be pretty short and sweet. Our goal at the Center at Deltona is to provide a 5-star experience at a state-of-the-art facility for everyone that hosts their event with us. We've committed to host community events at no charge throughout the year, like job fairs, daddy-daughter dance, the Mom and Me dance, which is coming soon, and more to come throughout the year. And we'll continue to provide dining room, an activity room, and a kitchen for the Council on Aging Monday through Fridays. Our mission statement, which has been the same. Some of our 23-24 accomplishments. We had a goal of $370,000 in revenue sales. As a goal, we did exceed the goal. We hit $389,000 last year, hosting roughly 825 events for fiscal year 23-24. So that should actually say complete on the bottom, not ongoing. Excuse me. Yep. Continue to develop and execution of signature events and community events such as our community job fairs, daddy-daughter dance, etc. And we will be coming up with more and more kid-friendly events that we'll host at no charge for the residents. Redefine job descriptions and job duties, creating performance practices and expectations for center staff. Work completely to overhaul and change the Center Deltona website, which is almost done. We've been working with the Public Information Office on that and creating a new website, which is much easier to navigate and gets a lot more information to the guests that are coming to the website to find, and then gives them a better opportunity for communication to us for sales and moving forward. And then to create and implement new policies and procedures for the training and continuing education of the staff to ensure 5-star service at all time. Some of our goals for 24-25 is to increase sales by about 5%, 385,000. Year to date, we are at about 327,000 already. So we've hosted, where was it? Well, we've booked already 816 events through the end of the fiscal year, with obviously more to come. We have 3 more months to book more. We are on pace for about 440,000 in sales this year. So we're looking at almost a $51,000 increase over last year if we stay on trend, and we have been up on our trends for every month this year. Want to continue to develop the signature events, like we said, create and maintain a marketing calendar and a schedule that can be maintained and enhanced from year to year to provide clear and measurable results. This is something that we're working on, just to be able to see where we're at year to year and enhance on that. And then work locally with wedding market companies for more exposure to the centers for local brides. Next one is the organizational chart. The accounting technician has been filled. That person has been in place for almost a month now, doing great. The facility technician, we had 2 part-time openings. I would like to fill at least one of those for maybe in a month or 2, so we are fully staffed for the holiday season, November, December being our busiest months. And budget overview, the personnel stayed pretty much flat, the 4% increase. The operating, the 3 major components to that $165,000 increase. One is new floors for what we call the Great Hall and the back hall area and the stage. They are being damaged. They're starting to lift and peel. There's no more warranty on them. I feel like it is going to become a safety issue, especially for the Council on Aging guests that are there every day. These are the rooms that the Council on Aging uses, so it is the most foot traffic every single day. So it was about $95,000 bid on that to replace those. And then the insurance went up about $20,000 this year, which is in that line. And then we're asking for $15,000 this year for a big act comedian show to come in, because I really think that we can increase our revenue and have a great turnout for a big show there. And that's about all I have for any questions.
Commissioner Villa-Vasquez, do you have any questions?
I do not.
Vice Mayor Jody Lee.
Thank you, man. Thank you, Chris. I like it all. I'm fine with it all. Most of it. It says your goal is $380,000 for next year.
Correct.
Please start shooting for more. Way higher. Way higher. We need to do so much more stuff there. We have a center. I think we should be doing. Some people are for it, some are against. I think we should be doing more farmers markets during the weekends and do it. I mean, that one was a good thing that turned out. We need to start doing more things there. For us to strive at $380,000 a year to make it when we're spending $1.7 million, kind of defeat. I mean, at least break even. I mean, I'm not saying make a profit, but it's hard because most cities don't. But I would like to change it. I don't care what we have to do.
Okay.
Let's use it more. If it's going to cost us a little bit more for us to make it more and break even, if we can break even, I'm good with it. But to keep spending money at certain things, it's a moot point. So I hope we just keep using it more and doing more things and opening it more to public. Like I said, the farmers market and other things on the weekends, I'm all for it. Thank you.
Commissioner McCool, then Commissioner Harriet, then Commissioner Shimkus.
Thank you. Chris, the $15,000 for the one-time comedy show, I mean, I get that, but what's like what's the anticipated ROI on that?
Well, and I'm basing this off of a show that was held at the center that was rented by an outside company, and they brought in a fairly large comedian, and they sold their tickets for an average of $75 a piece, and they filled the ballroom with 700 people. So even if we did 500 guests at, $50 a ticket or something like that, the return is pretty decent. And then plus we'll get all of our alcohol sales on top of it. And if we bring in a caterer and sell food on top of that. So there's 3 revenue streams there. And I think it could definitely be a profitable event if we market it right.
So could you explain to me the increase in the insurance also? What was that?
That's for the liquor liability insurance, went up $20,000.
Okay. Are we able to make that revenue neutral in some way? Like, I mean, that's, you know what I mean? That is
For the
insurance.
liquor liability insurance? I
Yeah.
mean,
I mean, that's $20,000 and, or $25,000 more, and like what I'm saying is revenue to cover that cost. And that's really a rhetorical question. Now, repair and replace the floors in the Great Hall, the back hall, and the stage. So we're talking about a mixture of the carpet, right?
no, ma'am, it's all the vinyl floors.
That's all the what?
Vinyl floors. The looks like hardwood floors, but the
Yeah.
vinyl flooring, yeah.
Okay.
No carpet.
What about down at the COA? Were you talking about that area as well?
Yes, ma'am, that's the Great Hall. So right when you walk in the front
Yeah.
doors to the right, that large
Yeah.
room there, that's the Great Hall. That's the COA room.
Okay, and I know that it's used a lot. It's fantastic. That's great and all, but is it just the age of it? I mean, it seems like
It's just the wear and tear on that part, and the vinyl has started lifting and peeling back. And the estimate that I had given to us for the $95,000, that's a 20-year warranty on the vinyl. So it's
what does that mean? Labor, material,
The
20-year
material.
warranty?
The material. Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
That doesn't include labor?
no, the warranty is on the material. The $95,000 includes
Okay.
is all inclusive.
Okay.
All right, and I had someone pose this question that will be listening this evening, okay? I would like for you to explain the COA contract and how COA is there, because someone did not understand. I said that I would ask when this presentation came up.
Okay.
If they could understand when the center was built. Let's start at 4th grade. And what I'm saying is, at the beginning, can you give me the 30-second elevator speech and what that entails with that contract with the COA?
Right. So to my understanding, the Council on Aging, there was money from the grants that was given to the center, to the city, to help build the building to house the Council on Aging. So the Council on Aging.
In perpetuity, was that the understanding that this was forever, as long as the existence of the center, that the Council on Aging would be in that area? Is that what the understanding was?
I believe so, but I don't know 100%.
Does anyone know 100%?
Can we get the contracts? That'd be real easy.
Yep.
So he's correct about the donation from the individual, but it also involves CBDG funds, which are federal funds. That was, I think it was, what, $600 and something thousand that was put into that as well. So as Angelina Briz can tell you, yes, that pretty much makes it that way, unless we pay the money back. What?
He is correct. At the time, it involved CDBG funds. CDBG funds were used for a special need. There are certain things that you can use special needs for. It's elderly, it's disabled, and drug addiction. Those funds were used there. We have inquired over the past 2 years, Ms. Lyson and I, with HUD. They have stated that we can buy, the city can buy CDBG out at today's prices.
Okay. Listen, somebody wanted the history and they understand, because I was trying to explain that every day the center is booked in that area for that. And so they said, does that mean we can't rent for an event? I said, that's what that means in that area, that we are locked into that. So does that apply also if other facilities are made available, or is the center the place?
It's just for that time during those hours, Monday through Friday only.
I know that. What are times? Because you just
9 to 4? 8 to 5.
8 to 5.
If there's a conversation to be had, I'm not sure if we need to have it in the budget, but there's a conversation to be had if you would like to do away with that.
That's not my thing. I just was asked to explain because someone was going to be listening at home regarding that, and I did not want to tell them secondhand information. I knew that it was storied, and I knew that it came along when the center was being built and planned, and I just wanted that as a matter of public information. I don't have a problem with that, So don't make the narrative that Commissioner McCool is trying to kick our important people out of the center. That is not it.
Commissioner, I
Thank
think
you.
we need to steer away. I mean, we're completely going out of the budget stuff, so.
But it has to do with the public paying for the
I
center.
get it,
and they
but
asked for
we're-
that to be cleared.
I get that, but we're deviating. I just want to make sure we stay on track. You're still on the board, though, so. Commissioner Harriet?
I'm going to try to stay on track, but I'm going to deviate just a touch because I'd like to understand how much of the center has to be devoted to the Council on Aging based off of the CDBG contribution. And I don't need to do that now if we don't want to. I think let's talk offline because I think there's a lot more discussion about that. But I would like to understand that. And then I would like to also understand a little more clarification, not tonight necessarily, but I've heard that some of the folks from the Council on Aging would rather be at another city facility, and they do not like driving all the way up to the center. So I think it feeds into the rest of the conversation that needs to be had. And then also the cost of flooring. We got quotes on that, but are we going to go out and get like a bid on that?
Yeah, I only received one quote for right now just to put something in the budget, and it was a quote by an approved vendor already through the city. It was the same vendor who put the floors in upstairs here at City Hall.
Okay, I'd like to maybe look at having a contract with somebody that can, if we're going to have flooring and stuff that needs to be done, that we could put that out for bid for, flooring so that we have somebody that can do it on multiple facilities. And then to Jody's point, honestly, I don't even necessarily want to break even. We're not going to make 1.7. That ship sailed when we built that facility. I would love to cover the debt services. $575,000, and we aren't even covering the debt services. So that should be our goal.
Okay.
Let's try to cover the debt services on that. I don't mind. I understand the operating cost. The residents deserve having a nice place that can be used. I have challenges with the fact that we're bringing in a show with tickets that we're anticipating selling for $50 because that price is, what do you say, 75, 85, 95% of this community out, especially if they have 2 or more children. That's a heavy lift. But isn't it a children's
No, this event would not be.
It's an
for
adult show?
children. This would be an
Okay,
adult
I apologize.
show. Yes, sir.
Still, $50 for a comedy show is kind of, maybe my wife and I will get tickets. Yeah, there you go. But otherwise, I appreciate the presentation. I think we need to shoot for at least covering that debt service amount at the center, so.
Commissioner Shimkus and then Vice Mayor Jody Lee.
So along the same lines, how many more years of debt service do we have?
That I don't know. Your finance question.
On that side, Commission, I was going to ask in general why we have a debt service on it with the ability to pay straight. Was that something the Commission decided
We had to borrow, was it 10 million, if I recall, to build this? So I'm trying to figure out how many more years we're on the hook for that, because, so I'll let you guys look that up. I guess you don't have an answer now? Oh,
2046.
sorry?
2046.
2046. All right. Yikes. Can you give us an idea of the actual potential of the building? And you mentioned 825 events are currently booked.
Correct.
I'd like to understand, if we booked every capacity room at every weekend, every whatever, what's the actual full potential of earning for this building? At today's prices, obviously that's...
At today's prices, I mean, and that all depends on if it's just a room rental or...
Just room rental. We're going to ignore the liquor services and all the extra stuff, just for room rental alone.
I've done the math before. If you rent every single room for 8 hours a day, fully booked, minus the rooms that the Council on Aging are in, we are less than $1 million in sales.
Right.
So it does take the sales of the amenities, the liquor sales, the add-ons that really start bringing up our totals.
Is it possible to even exceed the 1.7 million?
I know. Okay. I just wanted to kind of, I wanted to clarify, that's what I was asking, is this building is not a revenue generator, and this is a long story history. We're not going to go and rehash all that tonight. On the floors, this building is 6 years old?
6.5 years old.
So, we already have these floors peeling up and out of the way and having no warranty. Again, we can go back and beat up whoever made a choice of having, a building that had no warranty for the past 6 years on flooring, which is a whole other issue. Are we looking at the same materials? You said a 20-year warranty, but is it the same materials? Where are we at?
Still a vinyl and still I think they call it LVP, luxury vinyl plank. Glued down to the floor, and it's a much better quality vinyl. It's a much thicker product that gives it the lifespan and the 20-year warranty.
Okay, and just whatever we do with bidding or whatever, I want to hammer that home, because we can't be doing this every 6 years on a building that's never going to make us any money. And again, I'm not saying the building shouldn't be there. I think it's a great, I understand many people think other ways about the building. Okay, that was all right. I think that's... All right, thanks.
Vice Mayor Jody Lee.
Just quick, are we fully using the kitchen in there yet?
For some events, yes. We don't have our own kitchen staff. We outsource to caterers, and they...
How much of a difference would it be if we fully use that kitchen? Because if nobody's been in there, a lot of that kitchen stuff, there's a lot of it's not even hooked up.
It's all hooked up.
Well, it hasn't been used.
It depends. 75% of the caterers bring in their food already pre-cooked, and they travel with it, and they use our warming boxes.
Can't we find a different way for us to allow vendors to use our kitchen in there? It'd probably make more money if we let them use the kitchen. I'm just saying,
Right.
for instance.
The vendors that are pre-approved through us, they do use the kitchen, and anybody that wants to use the kitchen to cook will. So we have certain vendors that use the kitchen every time, and then we have certain vendors that, if it's over, say, 300 people, then they definitely use the kitchen, because they're not going to transport that much. But
Like you said, renting it all out, and it'd be maybe $1 million a year for running it, and it's like 1.5 million. Need to invite me and some of my friends over. We'll make up the difference in the alcohol bill.
Chris, are you done, Vice Mayor? Yeah. All right. Chris, I'll have a couple questions. I'll go to Commissioner Harriet so he can compose himself. Have you gotten any of those emails that the Ocean Center does, like with the events? Mm-hmm. Are we doing that, something similar to that?
the emails?
Yeah.
Not anymore. For my understanding, we stopped using Constant Contact, and that was the way that we were putting out emails. We're looking into different ways for marketing and getting stuff out to the public.
What is the sales associate currently doing to bring in more sales to that facility?
So currently, she's not doing anything to bring in sales. She's got her hands full 100% of the time with just business that's coming into us. I mean, it's not necessarily short staff, but it's a full-time job just fielding the phone calls, the referral business, and the online inquiries that are coming in. I mean, she has help as well. We have another gentleman that sits up front. He's technically a facility tech, but he kind of does a little bit of everything, and he helps with the sales as well, and I take on some of the sales as well, but it's a full-time position just handling the incoming calls.
I bring that up only because I think that could be a very effective way. I get those emails from the Ocean Center. I know a bunch of other people do, and I think those are some of the positive things that we can imitate, and they should be very cost effective anyways. I wanted to thank you because I saw that overtime went down 33.3%. Every time I see that in the department, I'm going to call it out because I think that's good. And then wages and salaries only went up 3%. So it's very important to show that. As far as the floors go, I know you said it's not going to be the same material. 6 years really isn't a long time because a lot of the other areas in the center, they still look beautiful.
Correct.
Right? Are we married to the idea that it has to be that vinyl? Can we use something else? I mean, I'd rather something go in there that is going to be more long-term.
Okay.
Because if we're getting 20-year warranty, but then we're still having to pay for labor, that's a problem.
Right. I can get some professionals in there to give other bids, and
Okay, so we're not married to vinyl, correct?
I'm not, no.
All right, and then the last question I have is the liquor liability insurance. I know Commissioner McCool touched up a little bit on it. Are we getting that new, or is that, did
No,
we not have that before?
It's not new, no, it went up from 5,000 to 25,000.
So it went up significantly.
Yes.
Is there a reason?
I don't know exactly. We've put it out to bid, and we've checked every company they can possibly find, and that's what it is.
Okay. Commissioner Harriet?
My comment, sorry, I had a blank for a second. I would like to see, has the position for the economic development director closed yet? No? When we hire an economic development director, I think it would be very wise of us to include the center as part of their purview under economic development. It is an opportunity to bring a lot of business into the city. And then the other question I had was that commercial kitchen, would there be opportunity for us to rent just the kitchen out to people that were doing some sort of like delivery or catering or something like that, where they just need a commercial kitchen space?
It's a possibility. I mean, I know that some places rent commissary kitchens to food trucks and stuff like that.
Precisely.
The only issue I could see would be scheduling, because our events are booked randomly, obviously, so scheduling might be some kind of an issue, but it's something we can look into.
I don't think that's unique for an event center like that, so I'd like to see it happen.
Okay. No other questions? All right, let's go ahead. Thank you, Chris. We're going to go ahead and move to planning and development.
Good evening, Jessica Entwistle, Planner 2, Planning Development Services. These are the department functions. So this includes business tax operations, GIS, zoning, which includes reviewing single-family homes, permits, site plans, plats, rezoning requests, ordinance writing to keep up with land development code updates. The department is currently, as you know, engaging in the comprehensive plan update, which will update the future land use map. This is the mission statement and the accomplishments for 2023-2024. There are many projects not listed here, but the large ones are Halifax Crossing. It's 32 acres of mixed use planned unit development, MPUD. We have Howland Marketplace, BPUD, which is 18,000 square feet of retail. 2,500 square foot Starbucks going in on Cortland. And then we have a 10-acre BPUD called Lehigh, which will have a business park. It'll have RV, boat parking, storage, and retail and office type uses. The 24-25 goals will include fully updating the comprehensive plan, an update of the land development code, having workshops with the public regarding growth in land development, and streamlining the online business tax process. This is our organizational chart. This gives you in yellow what we have open. We have the planning and service director, assistant director, the planning manager. We have a planner 1 position open, and the zoning tech position actually was filled. They start July 5th. And then we are asking to reclassify the admin 2 to an executive assistant. This is our budget overview. We did ask for more within the operating. And then I have to get back about the personnel. I'm not exactly sure why it went up, but I am going to get with finance about that. And our capital request, planning is requesting a vehicle that will be shared with the community development department. With this vehicle, we post signs, we go out, they pass out flyers, we do site visits, inspections, we go to different conferences. The CMAX that the city currently has does not fit our signs. We cannot put them together here. So we have to go out into the field on the side of the road and put our signs together and then put them in the ground. So it takes a lot of staff time when we're already missing a lot of staff. And that's our presentation. Do I have any questions?
Commissioner Villa-Vasquez, do you have any questions?
Not yet, thank you.
Commissioner McCool, then Vice Mayor Jody Lee, then Commissioner Harriet.
Thank you, Jessica.
You're welcome.
For y'all getting accomplished what you have with the staff that you currently don't have. So I just want to say this for budgeting purposes also. This organizational chart, all of the yellow here is number 1 priority for me, because without this, we're moving through with nothing. And we could do better in this department. And what I mean by that is hiring the people that we need to staff for your department, because you know, in us developing the new land codes and us trying to move through this with the development that we're trying to do with a moratorium pending, we need these positions filled. That's the only way that I know to say that. We need these positions in this department filled. If we look at the consulting fees that we have here, like I understand that we have to have some of these, but we're throwing away salaried money. And for me, getting the best of the best is going to be imperative. So as we move through this budgeting process here, if we could please pay real close attention to filling these positions. We have so much that needs to be done here. I really don't even know how to put succinctly. I'm looking at the accomplishments for 23-24, and we have these plats under review, but this is all pretty much residential stuff, and I want us to take note of that and trying to bolster our commercial base. So that's just what I want to say, sir, Mr. City Manager, that this is very high on the important list for me, because this is what's going to also give us our money that we should be getting from developers to go back into our people's pockets. I'm still peeved about a certain development that went through with $8 million of our money, and I'm going to drive that home until we recoup that money. They walked out of the city because we didn't have it together. There, I said it. And I don't want those types of mistakes made again, and you need to have a department that ensures that stuff like this is caught and that we can defend our position. So again, when I say this is really important to me, to the tune of $8 million that we lost. So I don't know if I mentioned we lost $8 million walking out of the city. So thank you very much, Jessica, for this and doing what you're doing. You're doing a great job with what you have, and your staff is too, so thank you.
Vice Mayor Jody Lee.
Thank you, Mayor. Jessica, you guys been doing great down there. And I'm not trying to be mean or the group, the kids that are in there, because to me, they're all younger.
Be nice.
I was, but they are doing outstanding. I like how you've been taking care of it since this, and before other people were helping you, you were doing it all on your own. It's just outstanding. You've been holding it up. We've been asking several other people in the city that are the higher ups in the city to rewrite certain things. Yeah, I understand after talking, you spent 7 hours redoing something? What was it you did?
I have started to redo the land development code, just the zoning, just fixing the spelling errors and reorganizing the issues within it.
Well, see, I want to give you credit because you've been doing that, and we've been asking for that for probably 2 years now, and nobody else has done it. So I want to thank you for stepping up and doing that because, like I said, we've been asking, and nobody ever seems to want to do it. You guys have been doing outstanding in there. And there's not nobody here that can get, you're all to deserve credit. So I want to thank you for everything you've been doing. That's all.
Commissioner Harriet.
I actually want to echo what Jody said. But I also want to ask, are we sure that we just need to reclass that position? Because it sounds like that department is incredibly busy. And I know that in the future, when we are trying to attract additional commercial business, it's going to get even busier. So I want to make sure that we have it appropriately staffed, but we have enough staff that we're not having to spend, we're not having to increase 128% for overtime, because that's not sustainable. So I just want to make sure that we have the appropriate staff in place. And Jessica, thank you very much. I appreciate all the phone calls, all the help, everything that you guys have done. And not just you guys, but you yourself. So thank you.
Thank you. And I believe part of the overtime is actually for the workshops.
Well, your fault. Dang it.
I just want to throw that out. That's part of our overtime is for workshops.
No, I appreciate knowing that. And let's have some more.
That means 7:30, sir.
So is it just a word? Are you done? I'm sorry.
No, Dana, how much was that again?
800 million.
Okay.
So Jessica, is it only workshops, or it's also because you're short-staffed, right?
I believe it's also because we're short-staffed. I know that we always have around 2,000 in there, but I know that we have workshops that we're doing that we have to budget for.
How many people are you short-staffed, 5 or 4? I know I was looking at that, but
We're short 4 positions.
okay. Are you sure, or are we just trying to be
Well, the 5th
conservative?
position doesn't start until July 5th, so as of right now, we're 5, and we'll be 4.
No, I get that we're getting an additional one, but I would love for Doc to look into that because, for example, when we go to the consulting fees, to echo on, and I know this is going to surprise a lot of people because Commissioner McCool and I sometimes don't agree on stuff, right? But to echo Commissioner McCool, I mean, I see consulting fees, and I mean, there's this crazy idea that if a certain developer wants to get fast-tracked, they should be able to be the ones to pay those consulting fees, not the city, right? So I don't know if that's something that we've implemented or not, but I don't see why. I mean, I understand because we're short-staffed. Maybe that's why we're paying consultant fees. And I'm not saying all consultants do this, but there's this practice that I've seen with some people building around our city that there's a back and forth, and the more notes that go in, the more money some of these consultants get. I'm trying to reduce some of those issues, because at the end of the day, the only people that are hurt are going to be the consumer.
So we currently have a consultant. We're not really using them right now. And after the second review, everything after that is charged to the applicant.
Okay.
So the city or our professional services is covering the first 2 reviews, and then everything else the applicant has to pay.
And the pass-through, correct? I'm sorry, Mr. Mayor, but I just want to make
Yes,
sure.
and the pass-through.
All right, last question. I see on here $10,000 for city commission meeting for Deltona Village. What is that for? Because we've already $8 million to keep on beating the dead horse. Another
It's
10,000.
the Gallery of Villages. I believe that's what we're wanting to talk about.
It says what? I'm sorry.
I believe it's for the Gallery of Villages.
Oh, okay. It says Deltona Village, and I only know one Deltona Village, and they've already taken us to task.
So I believe it's the Gallery of Villages because we have the 2050 plan with the Gallery of Villages,
get it
and
now.
it's named multiple places, and we.
All right. Thank you for saving me a heart attack. All right, Commissioner McCool.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I would like it also discussed about the CMAX. Dear leaders in Deltona, no one wants the CMAX. We need vehicles that can actually haul things, okay? So I know that the clerk needs a minivan. I know planning needs a minivan of some sorts because they actually haul stuff back and forth to facilities. And Gerald can't be in 37 places at one time. We love him, but he can't do that. No one wants the CMAX. It should be used as punishment and not as actual transportation for the city. So thank you.
I've been in that CMAX. I know what that feels like.
I am here to bear blessings, Mr. Mayor, to get out.
Vice Mayor Jody Lee.
Like I said, thank you for everything, Jessica. And to pass on a note, like Commissioner McCool said, Mark Manning has a pickup truck sitting out there that's got 30,000 miles on, hasn't moved in like 2 years. Use that truck because he keeps it for sentimental value, and that's not worth it for us in the city, but it's a pickup truck out there with 30,000 miles. He just put a brand new battery in it. Go take that truck.
Sorry. You two have a love-hate relationship. Let's move forward if there's no other. Thank you, Jesse. Oh, well, you're up next again anyways, right?
No, Angelia's here.
Oh, Angelia, okay. All right, let's go ahead and move forward. Ms. Briggs with Housing and Community Development.
Good evening, Angela Briggs, Housing and Community Development. Let's see. Okay, so Housing and Community Development Services, as we call it, HCD, uses allocated federal and state funding to meet a variety of housing, neighborhood, and infrastructure park needs. We currently provide oversight of 5 allocated loans. 3 are federal loans, including CDBG, CDBG Cares, or Coronavirus 1 and 3, Neighborhood Stabilization 1 and 3. 2 of these loans we are planning to close out this year. In addition to that, we provide assistance for infrastructure improvement projects, neighborhood facilities, parks projects, housing, streets, sidewalks, and a variety of nonprofit and assistance program, including but not limited to elder care assistance, child care assistance, after school care, and of course, rental, mortgage, and utility assistance. That's the mission statement. If you would go to, or look at the screen and go to page 5, you'll see a list of our accomplishments over the past year. We have expended 80% of the CARES funding, CV1 and CV3. We've expended over $350,000 in rehabilitation. We have approved $250,000 in down payment assistance for home ownership and provided approximately $190,000 in support to residents for disaster assistance. So technically, I would say we've expended this year approximately $790,000 in funds. Okay. Page 6 talks about our goals for the coming year. In the coming year, we expect to expend approximately $900,000 in SHIP funds. $350,000 in Hurricane Ian and Nicole funds, or HHRP funds. Both of those are state funds. We will attempt to close out our COVID funds and expend the remaining $60,000 to $70,000 remaining in that fund. And also try to close out the NSP funds, use those funds to assist with possibly some multifamily funding. And finally, we will continue to provide funding for our social services, including Council on Aging, Neighborhood Center, the Boys and Girls Club, New Hope Baptist, and our Neighborhood Center with Volusia, who manages our Deltona's first response to homelessness. If you look at our org chart, you'll notice that there are a couple of changes made to the org chart. We are abandoning a position. The person that accepted that position will be moving to another department. And after reviewing our staff, it was determined that what we truly need is not a full-time person to help with the finance part of it, but what we need is we need to have a part-time person to help with the walk-ins. The walk-ins tend to take approximately 30% of our time. Being grant administrators, it kind of pushes us behind sometime. So we're restructuring the department. We're going to look for a administrative assistant part-time. And we're going to take that, it was a financial analyst, so we're going to take that position, use the administrative assistant part-time, and then get an executive position in order to help with the finance end of the grants, the reimbursements. And that executive assistant will also be part-time. And having said that, let's see. Okay, that's the end of the presentation. Did you all have any questions of me?
Commissioner Avila-Vasquez, any questions? No? All right. Vice Mayor
No, I
Daly?
don't.
Thank you, Mayor. Ms. Angela, thank you for everything you do, for all the help and all the things you do for people with all this grant money and different programs that you do for people. I like how your proposed budget actually went down compared to last year. That's pretty good. I ain't going to ask why. I'm good with it. If it's going to cost less than it did the year before, when you get all these different grants and things for infrastructure and projects like that, how many projects do you know offhand that we got money for, but now we have to give money back because we didn't get none of these projects done?
Well, what we've tried to do is, Commissioner, we don't give money back. We don't give money back. So what we've tried to do is we've tried to work with it, and what actually happens, and I have to congratulate Parks sometimes, when we see that we're not going to expend the funds, we run out and we find another project, and Parks has been very instrumental in assisting with us with that. We've done most of the rehab at Campbell, if I'm not mistaken. We did even back 5-6 years ago, we did a lot of the rehab at Dewey. Wasn't it Dewey? The fence. Harris Saxon, Dewey, Campbell. So we try to catch it and then pivot. And
that's exactly the reason why I said that, to get you right into this one conversation. But you take his budget for these new bathrooms, fencing, and everything else. Can't we get government funding money to do a lot of these projects that he's asking money for? Do we do some?
Okay, how CDBG, yeah.
It takes it away from the community.
I get it, but if we don't use the money, what I'm saying is, if we're using it, but she's using it for projects, and if there's money left, she's using it in Parks and Recs. So I'm getting at, if there's stuff, can't we use some of this money for more things that are in his budget?
We could, and we have, and we will. What CDBG states is that the only time you can do anything in a particular area, if it's located in an area of greatest need, call an AGN, which I'm sure
He knows more about the money. But what I'm saying is, we get these projects, so if we have money left over, a lot of these projects, you can use this money for different things that he needs, which in turn, you'll have money left over. That's what I'm getting at.
And we're currently in our current plan that will come in front of you all next month. We're working with both Mark and with Robert in helping them try to install that ring. The one thing you have to understand with CDBG, it has to be quantified in a couple of different ways. One, it's an individual and it's their income. They have to be approved. The other way is we use what's called an area of greatest need. We need to make you all aware that those areas are composed based off of the census. We have not received the updated census data from 2020 from HUD. So we're still using the old data, but we're working around it, and we're working with HUD. We will be providing funding for the fiber ring, it is, that Mr. Manning and Parks and Robert are needing at this time. We're going to slowly provide funding over a 3-year period. We're going to use some of the current funds this year. And then hopefully by next year, we anticipate, based on Eric, who works with Jessica, that some areas will open up, will become what we call an area of greatest need. So then we'll slowly next year, or as soon as next year comes in, we're putting it in the annual action plan that you all will see next month. We're gonna use as much funding as we can to do that. We do that with parks, we do that with infrastructure. We are really wanting to push infrastructure also right now, especially stormwater, I think, Phyllis. We're really working on that, and we're going to be working with the county to see how much money we can take, but how much money we can get.
Any personnel that I think you need, you should be able to get. If you're finding money that it's not on taxpayers to spend, you're finding it in different places around the state or federal government, by all means, I'm all for it.
But thank you. It takes a lot of help from other departments, Joyce, everybody. Everybody helps, so.
Commissioner Shimkus and then Commissioner Harriet.
Kind of along the same lines, and I know our new city manager has, I think, some experience in grants in general. I'd like to see, I just put it here because your department deals with it most often, I'd like to see a focus on grants and perhaps a dedicated grant writer for the city to not only help, with the grants you're already putting together, but I'm sure there are a number of both private and government grants available that we may not be, approaching because we just don't have anyone kind of looking at that. So just kind of throwing out the idea, we'd like to see, I'm sure it's been mentioned by this commission and previous commissions numerous times that a focus on grants, for things like the scholarship program that seems to be a very hot topic for some folks, to find some money that we can administer through the city that's not coming out of taxpayer money. So
we have been talking with the local high school principals, and we have something in mind along with Ruben Cologne that might not be grants, but it might be something similar to workshops and things like that for students.
Commissioner Harriet.
Doc, on that same topic of grants, the commission did give consensus to the interim city manager to pursue a grant writer and grant management professional. So I would really like to see that. I don't know that this specific department budget is the most appropriate place for that, but as you see fit, the purview that I think we all approved it under would have been countywide. Citywide. My apologies. Citywide. So I just wanted to reiterate that we're all on the same page with that. Other than that, I just wanted to thank you for your staff and everything that you do for this city. There's a lot of residents that would have unmet needs if it wasn't for you and your team. So thank you.
Thank you. And throughout the entire city, we get a lot of cooperation and support from every department, and we appreciate that.
So, Angelia, I just have one comment, and maybe you don't need to be up there, but Doc, this is one of the ones that I was talking about. I think this is the one that has the biggest jump. Workers' comp, 2,000%. Yeah, no, I get all that, but it's still a jump. Like in some of the other departments, the dollar amount is way bigger. So I want to make sure that we're not just letting it go because there's a small amount. I mean, in other departments, it gets bigger.
I have a problem with the print line. It went up at 1,100%.
Well, I have that highlighted as well. But anyways, thank you, Angela.
I'm kidding.
We're good?
We're good.
You go home now.
All right. We're going to go into building and code compliance.
Mayor, if I may, it was brought up about the scholarship fund. Doc, is that in the budget anywhere that we have seen?
It was in the city manager or city commission budget.
Okay.
Well, the director of that, while they get ready, used to be actually a principal at one of our schools here, so, yeah. All right. Mr. Ron, ready when you are.
I don't know where the slides are. Slides are. Okay.
Hello, my name is Chad Tate. I'm the new building official for the city of Deltona. Only been at this job 3 weeks now. Trying to learn everything here, so there may be some questions.
Mr. Tate, can you make sure you talk into the microphone, please? Thank you.
Sorry about that.
You're good.
There may not be some answers that you have for your questions. I will certainly find out for you and let you know. The building department, we issue permits, review plans, inspect residential and commercial construction for compliance with the Florida Building Code and any other applicable construction requirements. We enforce all regulatory chapters of the Florida Building Code and city ordinances, as well as applicable Florida state statutes. We assist citizens in understanding and complying with all ordinances and relevant Florida state statutes. And the rest of it, clerical support and animal control. This is you, Danny. Yeah.
When we prepared the presentation, we wasn't sure if we're going to have building available to help us with the presentation, so we did a combination of both. We work very closely through the day of all city business, and that's why we combine them. But let me just add my part real quick. Code compliance is one department with 3 missions: code enforcement, animal control, and solid waste. The code compliance is responsible for enforcing all regulatory chapters of the Florida Building Code and the city ordinance enacted by the City Commission to protect the health, safety, and welfare of the citizens of the city of Deltona. Code compliance department assists citizens in understanding and complying with all ordinances and follow due process under Florida state statutes. Code compliance staffs are there to assist the officers to achieve compliance in all 3 aspects of our department: code enforcement, animal control, and solid waste. We work together to maintain an attractive and safe community which benefits the entire city through education, enforcement, and effective customer service.
Some of the building department's accomplishments this year is we hired 1 building official as part of a succession plan for the building department. Our strategic goals is effective governance and productive government status. Completed, I have filled the position as building official. We're trying to maintain the highest degree of customer service. Strategic goals, effective governance, and productive government. Status with that is ongoing with emphasis on educating new hires of city customer service expectations. And we're trying to increase the efficiency of permitting software to provide greater accessibility online through our customer service portal. Strategic goals, accurately, timely, and identifying communication.
Let me just add to some of the accomplishments. Last fiscal year, code compliance responded to 3,198 animal calls, 6,936 code violation cases, and 2,495 solid waste cases. So far this fiscal year, we have responded to 1,934 animal calls, 4,075 code complaints, and 1,782 solid waste issues.
Our goals this year are keeping building and compliance service department staff levels sustainable to achieve city goals. Strategic goal, effective I already read this, Danny. This has already been done.
For all departments, we work together to maintain an attractive and safe community which benefits the entire city through education, enforcement, and effective customer service. This is our flow chart for the two sections. Code compliance is on the right, buildings on the left. I'll cover real quick what I have vacancy on the code compliance. We have two code compliance officers vacancies right now. We have a customer service rep that covers the animal control dispatching vacancy right now, and I also have the solid waste customer service rep vacancy at the moment. As for building,
And you can, assistant, let's see, it says building official up on the top, which wasn't changed before this program was made. What we're really missing is the customer service supervisor, which we are doing interviews starting next week. We have 4 candidates that we're going to interview that we're setting up appointments with. Building customer service, it says 4 there. All those positions are full at this time. And building inspectors, it says 7. I don't know why it says 7, but if I had that many, we'd have a big party because we'd have nothing to do. So at this point right now, we have 3 building inspectors, full-time building inspectors out there.
this is the building's budget overview. Pretty flat from the previous years. This is code compliance budget overview. We did ask the solid waste management budget overview because we do have a customer service rep position, but it's currently vacant. That falls under the solid waste. As for code compliance, we're looking at the only capital request I'm looking for is $45,000 to cover for the radios that we are requesting. The previous radios are no longer in the maintenance plan, and I think we're one of the last ones to upgrade our radios.
Good for questions?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Jody Lee, Commissioner McCool, and then Commissioner Harriet.
Jed, thank you, Mayor. Thank you for coming over here and being at a department, because I've already had phone calls from people in the city. They like your no nonsense, straightforward, let's get the job done, let's do it. I'm glad you're there. Easy question for you, then I'll go to the other department. You said you don't need the 7 people. Are them 7 people in the budget for pay?
I would assume so.
But if you don't need 7 people,
We've already taken, I sat up there with Flores when we were figuring out what we did. We've taken one lead position out of there.
Right.
And I kind of commented on this, and like I said.
Yeah, I know, it's not, you're still new at it, so I'm
But
good.
no, it's not necessary, because if you remember that chart that was up there was 2 plans examiners. So
Right.
what I've done is cross-train them to do building inspections, to use that whole thing. So if I'm short, I can use those people, so.
So you're using common sense?
Yeah.
I appreciate that. That's a novel idea. But if you could check and see if all them people are in the budget still, and he said he don't need them, he's running it, he'd know. You had, before there was going to be some, thank you, Chad. Before you had some trucks coming up, did you take them trucks out of the budget that you wanted before?
No, we still have it on the budget for this year. We'll have $210,000, just like Mark Manning said.
For the 2500s?
The 250s, F-250.
F-250, but 3 of them.
25, correct. We were looking at the 2500 versions. The original pricing, because they came with the animal control box, they were at about $80,000 a piece.
84.
We went back to the drawing board. We went with the previous company that we used on the boxes. They're going to refurbish them, and we got a better price, somewhere between $65,000 from $80,000. And in a couple of weeks, we're probably going to get together and bring that to your attention.
You said you had a spot open for the person who answers the phone for animal control?
That's correct.
I thought your daughter worked there.
No, we at the end of that, we did transfer 2 of them from our department over to the building.
How many animals are we going a week? How many dogs are we moving a week for animal control?
Let me see if I have that number.
Hold on. On average, a month.
I got my total numbers of what we spent. I do not have that number, and I'll make sure I get that number available for y'all.
Okay. Well, I'd like it as well. Yeah, I mean, give it to all of us. I'm just kind of curious. I mean, I know it's part of the budget thing that's in there, but I still want to figure out how we justify $350,000 for, 3 trucks. That's just, because I actually have the billing here from Halifax for every month for the last 7 months. And I got 1 month, it's 15 dogs. I'm trying to figure out how we justify $350,000 in trucks for 15 dogs a month. That's, to me, I could put that in a pickup truck, but it's kind of crazy for a month. But I have all the billing for 7 months from Halifax. When it comes to the budget and everything, do we always normally we pay Halifax the money for them for dropping off stray animals? We pay, I see on these bills, we pay them $120 for taking every stray dog.
That's correct, yes.
And then when they have the dogs and they give them out to other people, they charge another $150 to adopt a dog for the stuff we already paid for?
That is correct. The only time we benefit from that, if the owner goes and claims the dog, we do get a credit for owner's return to owner.
So they're just double dipping then, because we get charged for it and then they're making money off it. I'm just kind of, not all fault for the animals, but when it comes to I see on these different bills for wildlife, are we, with our insurance and workers' comp and everything, are we supposed to be picking up wildlife when it hawks and stuff like this?
We've been doing that.
Well, I know, but I know we've been doing it. I'm saying with our insurance and everything else, our code compliance supposed to be picking up wild hogs, poisonous snakes, hawks. Are we supposed to be doing this?
I would have to check with our HR and see if it's in that we cover under insurance.
I'm not trying to beat you up about it, but shouldn't we have checked before we started doing it?
Okay.
I mean, I'm just saying our insurance and stuff, it's kind of crazy because I know there was just a hot call the other day. This is Florida. We have poisonous snakes. There's gators. I want to make sure we're doing, because I see all these bills from Halifax, we're getting charged for bringing in dead animals. That's kind of crazy.
I think that's also a waste
It is. I think that one was en route to the Humane Society. It passed away, so we left it there.
Well, on here, there's several for dead animals on different months.
I would have to check that bill. Did that mention which one?
It came from your department.
Okay.
I thought you had them already.
I do have them.
Okay, that's it. Other than that, I'm good. Thanks.
You do want to bring the other one up? You?
Oh, no. The next one's cats. You want to talk about cats?
All right, Commissioner Harriet. I thought you were going to get brave, but Commissioner Harriet and then Commissioner McCall.
Was it, it's not the right time to bring up cats?
7:30 people.
Go ahead, Commissioner Harriet.
Yeah, oh, it's the budget question. Is the DNR budget in here?
TNR budget is in there.
Where in here is the DNR budget?
It's actually the same question I had.
Well, that's what
Yeah, 'cause
TNR surgeries is under promotional.
it's under promotional?
Yes, correct.
It's not a promotional program. Why do we want to share with people? I don't think promotional.
Promotion activities.
I would like to see TNR in one place. This is my ask, biggest ask of the day. I'm not saying anything against it. I'm not saying anything for it. I would just like to see the budget in one place, not spread out over a bunch of different account lines. One place, and then I would also like to see some policies and procedures developed to identify the constraints of that program. However we're going to operate it, I just want to see, we need to be transparent here. We need to let the residents know what this program is going to be. We need to let the cat colony keepers know what is expected of them. And then when residents have issues with feral cats, we need to know who's paying for the damages. Is that going to be us? So I would like to see that. In other news, I would also like to talk about our radios. How many radios are we replacing for $45,000?
We are requesting for 8 radios.
8 radios? Is there a reason why we're not buying into the county radio system so that we're all on a unified system?
This is what's recommended from the fire department, which came from the county.
So this does tie into the county system?
That is correct.
800 megahertz P25?
Yes, sir.
Okay. That's really cheap for 8 radios.
Commissioner, yes, the TNR surgeries has been on promotion activities. It's totally separate from the kennel fees.
I want to know where all of the costs that go into TNR are in one line.
Are you good?
I'd like to have follow-up with that, but that's it for questions.
I think we all, whenever we ask for something, I think we all need to be receiving that information. And I'm going to echo what you're saying, but Commissioner McCool, if you're done, Commissioner Harriet, or Commissioner McCool.
I just had questions. Are we fulfilling our CEU components of, where we're going with our code enforcement, building services? Are they continuing with the CEUs?
Every 2 years are required 14 CEUs.
I just want to make sure that the next thing I want to ask is, when we're talking about abatement, I understand we have this line item for the budget item, but where were we at last year? And when I say last year, where were we at do we know where we were at in 2023? Where did we finish up with abatements and how much of that was recovered? You can get back to me. I mean, what I'm just trying to get to is that to make sure you have enough to cover those, because I have seen multiple units that y'all are working on, and I just want to make sure, because some of them are long-term, and this goes towards when we're reducing fines for some of these abatement issues, keeping in mind that we're paying for these out of pocket and then having to recover sometimes 2 fiscal cycles later or something like that. So I just want to make sure that you're covered for what you have.
Understood.
Yeah.
And yes, we have 4 contractors. We did do the abatements for us. And here it is. Total allocation for that is $75,000.
Yeah. And also, this is going out to bid, too, because I know that we've had this conversation several times for the abatements, right, and junk removal, because we do have some people with smaller businesses that do that, I'm sure, and would like the opportunity to bid, right, on these services. So I just keeping that in mind as well. So I want to ask again, I think that I know the answer to this, but I don't assume anything. Under the low-cost clinic, the spay-neuter program, $57,000 plus $3,000 for a total of $60,000. Is that everything in the TNR program that's allocated to the TNR program? I understand that it's under promotional because it's not a routine part, even though it is a routine part per se of the budget cycle, it is not, it is a special allocation.
It's there allocated with $73,000 in the budget.
So $73,000 is allocated in the budget for TNR.
That's correct.
Where's the other 13,000? There's 57 and 3,000 located in the promo. Where's the other 13,000? Or what is that? Why is that shepherded into another?
That's yours?
Is it under the animal kennel fees, Mr. Ron?
Okay, everything that has to do with TNR, it is under promotional activities.
So it is indeed a 60,000, not a 73,000. Is that what you're telling me?
Okay, I'm sorry, I'm looking at the chart here. It's 75,000 for the promotion activities that covers spay and neuter. We have 4 different locations that provide us that services for surgeries.
Okay, it's part, because I see major, well, I only see 13,000 allocation. Okay, I'm confused here because we have stray animal and animal confiscation, 60,000, 10,000 major cruelty. I get that, 70 and 3,000 for emergency clinic. So I'm just trying to figure out where that other, what the total.
I see the Commissioner. Okay, those are all under kennel fees.
Yeah.
They're not totally separate from TNR.
Okay, but does the TNR cover those? Do we use them for cats, or do we just use carriers?
Not with those line items, no.
Okay.
It's all under the promotional activities.
So here's the thing that it's been brought up. It's used as a political tool. It's used as a batting tool. It's, you know, you're either for or against TNR. It's crazy. Isn't there a meeting coming up with TNR, the public? Is there a TNR meeting coming up that the public can participate in? Because this is a very contentious subject that I would like taken off of our plate in the respect that we have policy procedure. It's outlined, the budget is the same, the policies are the same. I've heard so much about this last week. Is there a meeting coming up being facilitated to discuss these items?
We have not scheduled a meeting with anybody on TNR.
I am asking the city manager address this because we spend a lot of time on this for other than truly charitable reasons, and I want it put down. Like, I just do. I want the subject, I want it dissected, I want public participation, and I would like the commission to understand how this operates along with the general public, along with the people that are actually administering the TNR, because not a lot of people are out there. You have people out there in the public say, shoot the cats. That's what they say, shoot the cats. You don't have it at this juncture. Do you have control over a wild cat? Go catch all the crows that are crapping on cars. Also, when I'm saying that, go catch all the possums. Let's have a possum program, whatever. But I'm saying if we're doing this and we're putting it in our budget, we need to understand what the parameters are. Enough of the foolishness. It's crazy.
I've never caught a possum or a crow.
I'm just saying you can't control a wild cat any more than you can a crow crapping on a car. Say that 5 times. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. That's
All right, I'm going to say something before I go to Vice Mayor Jolie and then Commissioner Shemkes. So this really should not be political at all, right? I'm looking at a 2023 actual 55,000, a huge jump of 20,000 for the next budget, which was revised to 75,000. We're only going down 15,000 to 60. I mean, I'm looking at this when I saw the promotional activities, and Danny, I'm not picking at you at all, but it's a little bit, what's the word I want to use? It gives negative appearance when I'm looking at this, and I actually thought that this promotional activities for spay and neuter program, I thought that was the wags and whiskers, call me naive, right? I thought maybe that's what that was for, But when I'm hearing it's for the TNR, we should spell it out. I mean, it should be really easy for a 14, 15-year-old to look through our budget because it needs to be easy for everyone to understand, right? And for me to have to sit here and realize, oh, that's not for that, it's actually for TNR, it's a huge problem, especially when I'm looking at the previous promotional years, which seems to continue to increase. And I believe there was some crazy stuff that was happening, and it's starting to go down, right? From my understanding, and I know, did you finish conducting the investigation that was being held on the TNR program?
Yeah, we didn't find sufficient evidence to say that was going on.
Okay. And that's why I'm saying this should not be a political thing. You know, we should have the numbers out, and then I really wish that we would give animal control to the county. Code enforcement should be concentrated on code issues. Somebody's parked in the middle of the street when they shouldn't be. Their yard looks like a jungle. I don't know. But do you guys spend more time on animal control than you do on code issues?
I would say about 30 to 40% animal control.
Damn.
Look, and I'm not advocating that we shoot cats, right? That's not what I'm advocating. But we can't be. I'm hearing residents complain about legitimate, because I've seen pictures, right? Brand new car, all scratched up. And to Commissioner Harriet's point, a crow doesn't do that, a possum doesn't do that. You know, we get a cat colony, we clip their ears, and then we put them at a different colony, right? So we're already taking it from one area,
No, same colony.
packing it up in a different one, and it's taking our residents off, rightfully so. You know, I personally know someone that can't get a medic to go see her son, who's quadriplegic, by the way, and because every time the medics park there, the nurses, their cars get all scratched up. Their backs of their houses smell like cat feces and urine, and we got to find the happy medium. The government is not going to be the solution to every single problem out there. And if we're going to be talking about the safety of different animals, I mean, they're eating up the scrub jays. We're supposed to be a scrub jay sanctuary, and we have cats out there with clipped ears eating them, and coyotes coming in because of that. I mean, I can go down a long field, and then the board gets lit up. Anyways, can we make sure, Doc, that we put that on a specific line item? Thank you. Vice Mayor Jody Lee, Commissioner Shimkus, Commissioner McCool, and then Commissioner Harriet.
What I'd like to, you said a specific line item, a total amount from all different aspects and all different hidden places in the agenda and everything, because we use, according to this paper right here, we use 2 places for TNR, the pet clinic in DeBerry and a spray and save in Longwood. So that's 2 of them. Now in 20, yeah, so we don't use them there. So we have the 2 clinics, we have a Longwood, so our trucks are taken into Longwood, right?
No, we had the representative from Spay and Save. They come to the city hall and pick up the cats.
Well, that's a good thing.
Bring them back.
So, but these are still all, these are wild cats, right? So when I've sat out in the parking lot and I took pictures of code enforcement, having people bring their personal cats in with collars on, with the nice little fluffy collars and stuff, and I took pictures of the gentleman taking their cat out of their car carrier from their car, giving the code enforcement, that wasn't real.
Correction, taking off the collar before they gave them.
No, the one had a collar, because after that I went to the vet and talked to the vet, and there's a chip, and he gave it the owner's name and address and everything. So they're actually using people's animals, are bringing their own personal pets, and we're footing the bill.
We're putting safeguards. We have put safeguards in this program to avoid those situations.
It's costing a bunch of money for taxpayers that don't like cats. Sorry.
Now you made it political.
I don't like cats. Do I want to save them? Yeah. Do I want to take care of them? Yeah. But if you're a pet owner, you should take care of your animal, and somebody that doesn't have animals or don't want cats at all shouldn't be paying a bill. But this just, because the money hasn't changed in the budget, and what my point of it is, so in them 2 places, in 22, for both of them combined, it was 48,000, 49,000. In 23, it was 47,000. But so far, year to date in 24, we're only at 9,000.
That was after the investigation. I don't mean to interrupt.
So if this is only 9,000 for so far this year, why are we still asking for 75,000?
No, we dropped.
If it's dropped that much this year,
we dropped.
it's only so far to this year to date is only $9,000. So evidently something happened with the program. It's not being used as much. So if we're only at 9,000 year to date, we can save 50 grand and put it to something else, like one of them trucks you want. Okay, I'm done.
Commissioner Shimkus, and then Commissioner McCool.
Danny, I wanted to go back. At the beginning, you mentioned numbers of calls I did not see in the presentation. Could you review those again? I wasn't able to write them all down fast enough. You mentioned how many animal control, code enforcement, and solid waste calls that your office fielded.
Yeah, here's the sheet I wrote. I got, well, this current first fiscal year, to date, 1,934 animal control cases, calls that come out. 4,075 code cases, 1,782 solid waste cases.
Okay, so animal control was almost half those calls. You know, I'm not good at math, so 1,900 out of 4,000, so almost half. Part of the, what was brought up a little bit, I'm just curious, do we kind of consider changing the structure of other departments and spinning out code enforcement from animal control? And that would lead into also, does every code enforcement officer have to drive around a truck with the pet stuff on it in order to kind of coverage? Or, I mean, how are we managing? If you're on duty for code enforcement, running around getting an animal call, you got to call someone else to come and get it, or like, what are we? That's why I think we want to look at splitting it, perhaps.
Yeah, the department right now, we are, when it comes to animal control, we have 4 animal control trucks every day out in the field. There's 4 zones. So we have 4. The other vehicles are pickup trucks that we use, and pretty much they just handle mostly just code enforcement situations. But the animal control officers, there are 4 trucks every day.
And they're on the road all shifts?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So I think based on some of the questions you've heard and the very spirited conversations up here about this, the data and the numbers are going to be, I think, a lot more important here. To Commissioner Harriet's point, we definitely need to see the policies and procedures written in a way that is consistent. But when it comes to these numbers, how often are these trucks full of animals? How often are we, spending time, energy, and money to send one animal over? Like, I think we just need to maybe step back and, like, we wanted to do a whole workshop on fire. I think, a deeper dive into code in general and figuring out what would make the most sense for perhaps reorganizing the department in general, because for whatever it's worth out there, this has been the one department, and again, not you specifically, but this has been the one department since I've been in Deltona for the last 7 years that has always seemed to be the most contentious department we have. Obviously, code is going to be that way in a lot of ways because you're telling people they're doing things wrong, so that's obviously going to be a hard thing to work through. But I just want to make sure that we have investigated other setups, other potential processes for how code enforcement in general is going to work in our city. We've heard for years it's all going to be reactive, and we only do things when someone reports it in. So that's become an issue because now I've got to drive by 7 visible issues to go and talk to the one person that someone called about. So I just think we need an opportunity here to maybe take a step back and really consider what we're doing with code, and maybe we're not doing it the best way, and what other options we could explore there. So thanks.
Understood.
Commissioner McCall?
Thank you very much. And to that point also, are the trucks just used for code enforcement, like as you were saying in the discussion, the overall bigger picture? I'm not an ops person, but these are questions that are asked of me, right? My other thing, and when we're talking about budgeting also here, is when we're talking about this structure is how are we facilitating or budgeting perhaps for someone proactive to go out into the community? I know that code enforcement, we changed it to code compliance, right? It just sounds not so forceful. But are we, and I'm asking for budgetary reasons, is there someone, a personnel, that goes out and when they see a home that is always maybe out of compliance due to cut grass or something like that, are we bringing forth a community solution, like with asking if like we can help instead of enforce them? Do we have a person that is doing that proactively as opposed to us being punitive? Is there someone on staff that we have that, or is that the culture?
If the officer sees somebody that needs assistance, elderly, handicapped, those kind of, we do bring those type of cases to the housing department, and maybe they can help.
Yeah, because I know that we worked on a couple this last year, same reason, getting somebody into compliance, trying to help them rather than be punitive. So I just want to make sure that is. I want to, for budgetary also in this overview ask you this. If we did not have TNR, I want to understand the process by which cats will the same pickup and what is going to be the policy or the procedure if we take away TNR? Tell me about what you do with the cats. You get a call, you go chase a cat around, you tell me what that is. If without the volunteers, without the TNR program, how many TNR volunteers do we have right now? 5?
Right now, 5.
5, okay. And how many cats are they working with on the daily?
We average between 4 and 5 per day. We do the surgeries Tuesday, Wednesdays, and Thursdays. Now, to answer your question, the way we used to do it before we had TNR, each of the animal control officers that had their trucks, they would set out traps. We would set up anywhere between 3 to 5 traps from each vehicle. So we have the capability of providing 16 traps to the community. If we catch a cat, we take those cats to the Humane Society.
Okay.
So the fees for kenneling would have to change. We would have to adjust those numbers for that. But that was the service we used to have before we had TNR.
Is there anything within the constraints, as it were, of the TNR program that prevents a resident from going to get a cat trap, capturing nuisance animals, and taking them to Halifax themselves?
They can take them to the Humane Society themselves. Correct.
So a resident is not restricted to go get a cat trap and take cats to the Humane Society themselves?
No.
Okay. Does the city have cat traps available for a resident to use should they elect to remove animal from their property?
We do not.
You do not. Does the city have traps in general that they still use?
Yes, we have maybe 1 to 2 on each vehicle just in case of an emergency. If a cat or a small animal did bite somebody, we have to catch that cat. That has to be available for the officers. The rest of the traps were provided to the TNR program. They have a lot of traps in their possession.
Okay, so I'm just putting that out there that at any given time a resident can go catch an animal. On every cat that is called in, the TNR program is utilized. Is that true? If somebody calls about a nuisance cat, a repetitive offender, is that the process? They call and then TNR comes out? Or does the city ever take any of the animals to Halifax?
Only if they're sick or injured when we take them to the Humane Society, to Halifax.
Okay, but other than that, TNR is taxed?
TNR is that's the program we have in place for cats.
Okay. And without spaying and neutering, then you're going to, instead of having 1 cat on your property or 2, you're going to have triple that amount, correct?
Okay, can you say
Cats
that again?
breed prolifically, that's what I'm trying to say. So without some type of system in place, that's just going to happen.
That's correct. They multiply pretty fast.
Okay, if we can, for budgetary purposes, Mr. Mayor, if we could address this because it is a thing, and if we could ask the city manager, we really do need to look into it.
Can I get a motion to extend the meeting? We have Commissioner Harriet, and we have city manager comments and public comments.
10 minutes.
There's no motions?
Nope. Okay.
No?
Only for public comments. Are there public comments? I'm only open to hearing public comments. I think we beat this to
I'll
death.
second that. Second.
Okay. So can we all see if we agree for public comments? Yes? Okay. Commissioner Harry, you're on, but we're over time anyway, so we're going to go straight to public comment.
Real quick, I just wanted to make it very clear that I'm not advocating to completely get rid of the program yet. I just want to make sure that the program is effective. Ultimately, the goal of the program is to eliminate the cat colonies. It's just doing it through attrition versus going out there and putting down the cats.
All right, we're going to public comment.
We're good.
All right, go ahead, Joyce, please.
Brandy White.
Brandy White, Deltona. At least there's less sections this time, but I still think 2 minutes is a bunch of crap. Let's start with the center liquor license. Is it cost effective? Are we bringing in an income of more than $45,000 a year? Because between the bartender fee of $20,000 and the licensing insurance of $25,000, and then you still have a higher license fee as well. So unless we're bringing in over $45,000 in sales and liquor, we shouldn't even be doing this. And as a city, in my opinion, we shouldn't be selling liquor anyhow. Moving on. Publications and memberships training across the board in every department. Some of them are up 10 times. I don't understand why. 7 times from 2022-2023 budget to 23-24 budget. Some of the travel and per diem in departments are 7 times. I get that it's equal now, but is anybody looking at why the 10 times increase in a lot of these line categories last budget? Because to make sure that it's effective this budget and necessary, that's what needs to be looked at. In addition, staff appreciation is in every department, including $2,700 in the general fund, $1,000 in building services, and $1,200 for code enforcement. The other departments are between $300 to $600. That's really confusing why it's spread out everywhere. There's a lot of miscellaneous and unlisted at $3K here, $20K there. There's no actuals for 2023 in the housing and community. Parks and Recs, what you saw last year was they grouped it into one big fee, and they did not break down the programs. This year, we're back to breaking down the programs as we should. However, I'm confused why we're arguing for 30 minutes over $60,000 for TNR when for 2 drone shows, we're going to be paying $60K. Absolutely insane, makes no sense, and nobody said a word. We had a very overinflated budget for 23-24. We need a true up to make sure that these prices we see today are accurate. Thank you.
I had it highlighted and I forgot to mention it.
Google Ford Deltona. All I'm asking y'all is, when it comes to these budgets, look at each item. It takes a long time, okay? But when you take a look at it, you see a lot of fluff, or at least I'm seeing some fluff, and I'll point out just a little bit of fluff. And I'm not picking on the fire department because good guys, they do a great job. But there's a lot of stuff here. Here as we go. Pins and badges, $6,000. What kind of pins and badges? I don't know. I asked the same question last year. Pins and badges, $6,000. Okay. Here's on this under miscellaneous items. Shorts, sweatpants, and jumpsuits, $4,400. What's that for? Citation bar program. I think citation bar is a little piece of metal they wear on their shirts. That's $1,800. Safety unit uniform items, $3,000. Don't know what that's for. A sponsorship for a paramedic scholarships, $56,000. There's a lot of people that are applying for jobs that are already qualified to be paramedics. I don't understand why we're paying $56,000 for someone, and are they going to be working here? I'm thinking maybe they are, but that's a lot of money. A vehicle for training for extrication, $2,000. I mean, can we go to a junkyard and just get a $200 car, tow it there and use it for practice? I don't know. I don't know where $2,000 comes from. Car seat tech training, $2,000. Okay? Parks and Rec, you guys do a great job. Here's a couple of things I wanted to point out. In 2023, the budget for the 4th of July was $48,962. For July 2025, it's estimated at $111,000. That's over 100%. That's double. I don't know why we're going so much higher for over 2 years. Spooktacular went in 2023 from 19,714 to 56,200.
Mayor, if it's okay, I'd like to encourage residents that if they have additional questions on budget line items, that this is our first time to see it and talk about it, so that if they do have those additional questions on specific line items, that they reach out to their district commissioners and that we can bring it up.
Joyce?
That's it.
That's it?
Yep.
Meeting's adjourned.